Hey, I'm Patrick, and in this video I'm in Columbia County, Arkansas. I have a Krone windrower. It's called a rotary rake. I'm going to be carrying it up to Pine Bluff. So let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I'm back in the old T680, and by old I mean brand new. It has just over 6,000 miles on it, and I thought I would get it out of the garage and put it to use for a little while. This place was apparently called the Ranch. I believe this would be Magnolia, Arkansas. The county seat of Columbia County. And I know that because it said so on the welcome sign coming into town. There is nobody here. I'm waiting at a red light for nobody. The engine sound in the truck today is another one of Flav Jerry's engine mods. It's the Cummins X15. Oh, this doesn't look like it's going to work. Why did GPS? Oh no. To whoever does the landscaping here in Magnolia, Arkansas, I apologize for running my trailer through your court square here. But to be fair, whoever designed the street here definitely did not think at all about trucks coming through. You know, I thought I'd talk about something a little different in this video. I've been thinking, one of the big comparisons everybody makes, and by everybody I mean mostly nerds, is Kirk versus Picard. And I got to thinking, what about Kenworth versus Peterbilt? Then I thought some more, and I thought, which truck in ATS fits Kirk versus Picard? And then I got to thinking, well, why not just think about all the captains from Star Trek? So I'll start with Jonathan Archer, the captain of the Enterprise, Starfleet's first Enterprise, VNX-01. And I got to thinking about the trucks in ATS, and I decided that what goes better with Enterprise than International? Now, they kind of sound alike, Enterprise, International. So for Archer, I went with the 9900i, and that it looks like an old truck. It's not really all that old. It has that old style, long front end, like older trucks did, and it kind of sounds like Enterprise because it's International. So then we go to Christopher Pike, not the first Enterprise captain of the NCC 1701, but one of the captains of the ship before Kirk took over. And then I got to thinking about Anson Mount. And what is he? He's a Western star. Yeah. He was a star in a Western. And I got to thinking, what truck would go with him? And I decided it would be the 49X because, again, it has the longer nose. And I thought that it fit him. So now we finally come to Captain Kirk, James Tiberius Kirk. The first captain we see, other than the original Pike, but we didn't really see him. If by we, I mean people who are much older than me who were alive when Star Trek first came out. But he was the captain in the original pilot, and now, of course, there's a whole series about him. So Captain Kirk, he was kind of a cowboy, and when I think of semi-trucks and cowboys, I think W900. It's been around since way long ago, and I just think of the W900 when I think about cowboys, and Kirk was that cowboy diplomacy, as Spock said once. So I think the W900 fits Kirk. Whoa, that was close. Did you see that? That had to... How did they not hit? I can't believe they didn't touch. Those two cars were so close together. Okay, anyway. And then we come to Jean-Luc Picard. And I think of the Enterprise D. And it's big, it's fancy, it's got computers that have touch screens, and it's just modern compared to the original Enterprise, which was, push buttons and levers, things like that. So when I think of Picard and the Enterprise D, I think of the Volvo VNL. Yeah, I think Kirk is like a W900 and Picard is kind of like a Volvo VNL. Now, if you look at the courthouse over on the left, you can see the similarities between it and the one that I showed in one of my recent YouTube videos from my Minecraft world. Okay, moving on. Then there's Captain Sisko, Benjamin Sisko. Of course, he started out as a commander when DS9 started and was finally promoted to captain. And what do I think about him? And for some reason, all I can think of is the Mac Anthem. And I don't know why. It just seems like it fits. It's a newer truck, and when DS9 came out, it was a new concept. It's on a space station. And Sisko is really DS9 should have been the Western of all the series, but it really wasn't the Western. That, I mean, later on it actually turned into more of a war movie. It could have been a Western, though. I don't know. Well, here we are, stuck waiting for the train to come by. I hear it coming. They blow their horn, so I'll blow mine. I kind of wonder what they have over the Handmade Bazaar. Okay, well, anyway. Then we come to Catherine Janeway, and see, I think Voyager goes back to being more of a Western. Because they're in the Delta Quadrant, which isn't really the West, because there's no north, south, east, and west in space. Which was, by the way, something that came up in Quantum Leap a long time ago. But there's no west in space, but it's, talk about the final frontier. The Delta Quadrant wasn't even a frontier in Star Trek. The Delta Quadrant was on the other side of the galaxy. Nobody was going there, and nobody could get there. So they were kind of stuck out there. So it really was a new frontier. And what goes along with that? Well, just like the W900, when I think of the West and cowboy trucking, I think of the Peterbilt 389. It just has that old style to it, and it has the power to get back home. And finally, we come to Michael Burnham. And what fits Captain Burnham? You know, it took a little while for her to become captain. First, she had to commit treason. So it definitely started out kind of shaky. And what's shaky? Ever heard of a Freightliner called the Freight Shaker? Kind of shaky. So for Michael Burnham, I picked the Cascadia. It's a nice truck. It's kind of fancy. Maybe a little too fancy. The Discovery was definitely way too fancy to be set before Star Trek. But there it was. And it started out shaky. Got better, I think. I know a lot of people still hate it, but I think it got better over time. By the end, I think it was actually just as good as anything else in Star Trek. And what I mean by that is, I think looking back, the show was better than it seemed like it was at the time. Future Patrick here, and I just realized that I forgot Captain Carol Freeman of the Cerritos. How could I forget her? She is a captain in Star Trek, so I need to think of a truck for her. And, you know, Lower Decks was a funny show, and I think we need a funny truck for Captain Freeman. Even though she wasn't really funny, she was a good captain. But if I was going to pick a truck that's funny, it would have to be the International Lone Star. That thing looks ridiculous. And I know that when it was designed, it was probably meant to look like an old truck, but it just, I don't know, it looks wrong. in so many ways, and I see them going down the highway in real life, and I think those look terrible. So, yeah, not to disrespect Captain Freeman, but International Lone Star. It's a funny truck for a funny show. Okay, finally got the cruise set to 60. I wonder how long that'll last. That Pine Bluff sign says that not very long. One of the nice things about an automated transmission is that you don't have to worry about downshifting, it does it for you. On the other hand, when you're in control of it and you actually know how you're supposed to be downshifting, you can probably do it a little more effectively. You know, I really like the digital mirrors on this truck, and kind of hope they put digital mirrors on other trucks in the future. I think there are also on the, I think Freightliners have them in ATS. In the United States, though, there still has to be physical mirrors, and I think the way it works is there have to be 2 physical mirrors on each side on the outside, and I think that's a good idea, because I'm sorry, but everything that's electronic eventually quits. And could you imagine backing up and all of a sudden your mirror just goes black and you can't see what's behind you right in the middle of a turn, or it flickers right as somebody steps into your path while you're backing up? That would be terrible. And now that I think about it, digital mirrors are horrible, and we need to get rid of them and go back to regular mirrors. But anyway, nobody listens to me. Okay, we have a roundabout coming up, and everybody who watches my videos knows how I feel about roundabouts. I've never been through a roundabout in real life, and I don't know exactly how they're supposed to work. Well, I think this is one of those situations where I should have just gone right down the middle of the 2 lanes and not even tried to stay in one lane or the other. And I kind of think in real life truck drivers probably do that a lot of times, just to make sure that cars coming from behind them don't try to get on one side or the other while they're turning, because you can't really just get a trailer through a roundabout that easily if you don't do that. If you don't go split right down the middle of the two lanes. And some of those roundabouts that are just one lane going around in a circle, those, like back there at Port Square back in Magnolia, there was no way that the trailer I'm pulling was supposed to get around that. No way. Looks like some road construction going on here. Make sure I slow down a little bit so I don't risk hitting any of those workers there. And there's a tractor who just decided to turn right in front of me. Don't do things like that. Don't turn right in front of semi trucks. They can't slow down that fast. Finally had the chance to actually swing out wide there. Didn't have to worry about hitting their stop sign. I like how this early autumn mod replicates the way the sun goes down earlier in the afternoon, and the daytime never really seems all that bright. This time of the year in this area, it starts feeling like that. Oh, there's a train coming. There's no arms there to stop me, so it's a good thing that I actually stopped and looked both directions. I see some beehives over there, and this area looks like they may sometimes have crops to actually pollinate. Let's see where we're going to park. Okay, that shouldn't be too bad. Well, it's been a long road getting from Magnolia to Pine Bluff, but the time for parking is finally here. I'm guessing that that is the road that I came by coming in, which means that it's probably an undiscovered hidden road. Let's see what we get. This is going to be a longer video, but just had the idea and thought I would share my thoughts. If you have your own thoughts, leave them in the comments. Okay, well, that was a job, and now I'm going to go down that road and see what I find. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.